All right, everyone, it looks like it slowed down a little bit. Welcome to the Sport and Performance Psychology Admission webinar. You may be somebody who's hearing about us for the first time. You may have also been in our webinar that was just happening last week, the week before, about our other SPP programs. So some of this may sound a little bit familiar, but in case it doesn't, we're going to go over everything again today. So don't you worry. Now, my name, first of all, is Georgia. I'm the Associate Director of our admission office here at University of Western States. And like I mentioned, today is going to be an overview of everything. But if you found yourself just saying, oh my goodness, this isn't where I meant to be. I meant to watch something else. I want to see that master's degree in SPP. I want to see that master's degree in human nutrition and functional medicine. Instead, those things can be found back on our admission website, either under Connect with Admissions Virtually, or the easiest way, I would say head to our YouTube channel where we have all of those things there as well. So if you're looking for those, no problem. But if you're here for these two incredible doctorates, thank goodness, because we've got a lot to tell you today, and I think we're gonna have a great time together. So we only have about 30 minutes together today. That is not a ton of time. So I want to get you acquainted with a few things. One of the things that you might see at the bottom is a little Q&A speech bubble. If you're seeing that, fantastic. That is a great place for questions. And I'll tell you what, hopefully today we have time to answer a few of these questions, but even if we don't, we will be giving everybody who signed up for this webinar today a call tomorrow. So if you don't hear your question during our next 30 minutes, no problem. We'll give you a call personally. If you're watching this at a later date, we may have called you already, or connect with our admission office. We are always happy to provide information. So like I mentioned, that Q&A, another feature that I think is really important to note for us here is that Q&A does need your name if you leave a question and you want us to follow up with you. So feel free to ask anonymously if that's what you'd prefer. If you do not want any follow-up, if you would like follow-up, however, we got to know who asked it. So be sure to put your name. But let's get started. All right, a little schedule for today. So for today's schedule, we are going to explore the history of UWS a little bit, and then we're going to introduce you to our program directors for the SPP program and then also the CMHC program. Those are two different folks. We'll talk about how UWS distinguishes itself from other programs, how it's going to prepare you for your educational goals. But we're also going to review some of those aspects that are going to make us stand out when you're looking at some of those other programs as well. So we're going to explore that online learning community, hear a little bit more about that, what it looks like to be in a class. And then the last little thing will be talking about applying and all the things that you need to apply. So quick session here today, but we'll cover it all hopefully. And anything that we don't cover, again, I just like to encourage folks to really reach out to their advisor. You'll have one assigned to you as soon as you make contact with us, and they're helpful every step of the way. So as you can see here, UWS has been part of the history of health and wellness in the Pacific Northwest for a long time. You'll see that date there at the top in 1904. That's when we were founded. And initially, we were founded as the second oldest chiropractic college in the world. Almost to 120 years now, you can see we started to expand after we received accreditation. And then in 2018, we welcomed Dr. Rose. 2022, we welcomed Dr. Castillo to be the directors of those two programs that we're going to talk about. And like I mentioned before, we do have some other graduate programs in case you do want to know what those are. Some people might do multiple programs from us. That's not uncommon by any means. Check them out here. And at the bottom there, for folks who are thinking, hey, I want to stay in the realm of sports psychology, but I don't yet want a degree, we've got our graduate certificate there as well. All right, Dr. Sarah Castillo completed her bachelor's degree in psychology at UCLA, her master's degree in kinesiology at Cal State Long Beach, and her PhD in education at the University of Idaho. You can see there she is a certified mental performance consultant. She is an approved CMPC mentor through the Association for Applied Sports Psychology, AASP. She has served on that AASP executive board as well, and she comes to us from National University in San Diego, which is where she's based. And she there served as the program director for the Bachelor's in Sports Psychology program, and then also acted as the editor in chief for their journal, the Journal of Performance Psychology. And with that, co directed the Center for Performance Psychology. So prior to National, she also had some background in the same area. She spent 9 years as a performance enhancement instructor at United States Military Academy over in West Point. Dr. Castillo, she's passionate about working with individuals, with teams, anybody who is looking to find peak performance in any area that they're currently pursuing in their life. So she has worked with various collegiate teams, individual athletes around the San Diego area and wider than that, as well as the Special Olympics or the Paralympic track and field. So that is super exciting for us and for you as well. Also very exciting. Dr. Michelle Rose, she is the program director for our CMHC program. So the program started as a concentration in sport and performance psychology, but Dr. Rose has a history in designing and developing counseling programs, and that helped us manifest this incredible program. It is really a unique, it is a competitive standalone program. There's nothing quite like it. So if you're considering doing our EdD SPP, CMHC, whoa, I know all the acronyms, but if you're interested in doing that doctorate with sport and performance psychology and would like a clinical mental health counseling specialization, you will definitely be running into her quite a bit. Don't worry if you don't have those memorized right now or don't know the difference. You might be over there saying, hey, Georgia, I don't know the difference between those two. We'll go over them a little bit later, but Dr. Rose, also very helpful. So as you can see, she's got her PhD in Human Development and Family Sciences from Oregon State, and then she's a licensed professional counselor in Oregon, a nationally certified counselor, and a nationally approved clinical supervisor. So if this area is of interest to you, she is going to be just a fantastic resource. So, why would you be looking at the EdD Sport and Performance Psychology program overall? We're not talking about any of the specializations yet, just overall. So, we've got a 100% online sport and performance psychology graduate program. We've got several of them, as a matter of fact, and they're providing students with those skills that are going to be impactful in the field of sports psychology. They're going to enhance performance. They're going to transform lives. They are going to bring people really to the peak of what is possible for them. We in the past have been recognized by bestcolleges.com for our outstanding psychology degrees. We've had folks who have taken the master's degree credits that maybe they have earned in the master's degree and transferred into their doctorate. If that's something that you're interested in, saving them a ton of time. If you're somebody who might be balancing a busy life, this program is really a great one. It is flexible with the pacing that you are going at. You might be doing it a little bit more quickly, wrapping up, in 2 years, or you might be taking a little bit longer, which is okay. And finally, and we'll show you this a little bit later, our curriculum is really offering a variety of classes in sport and performance psychology. So these are designed to help you complete the requirements for that CMPC consultant through the Applied Association of Sports Psychology. And then it's also designed for students who just want to lead others to success. They want to be creative. They want to lead highly effective teams and continue in this incredible field. Now, like I mentioned previously, you might be thinking, hey, what if I want to add that CMHC, that clinical mental health counseling specialization? That's a great choice as well. Now, this degree is longer. We'll see that in a little bit, but what you benefit from is numerous. You can see some of them up here. So this allows you to have multiple streams of income primarily. So maybe you're looking at that CMPC. Maybe you'd like to take that National Counselor Examination or the National Clinical Mental Health Counselor Examination. Either one of those you would qualify for. Maybe you don't yet have a master's degree. That's one of the things that we'll talk about, but it is required for that EdD SPP. If you don't previously have a master's degree, you'll want one before applying for that program. But if you have a bachelor's degree in any topic, you are already qualified to take our doctorate option in sport and performance psychology that also has a concentration or specialization, pardon me, in clinical mental health counseling. And you complete it in quicker time than you could do them separately. So if this was already somewhere that you were interested, if you want to take care of people while they're reaching their peak and also support them when they're needing a little bit more support, this does offer you a lot of different ways that you could go with your career, a lot of flexibility. So, what is sport and performance psychology? So, when we say SPP, we are talking about the ability to guide athletes, performers, and others to their performance goals. So, sports psychology is looking at the interaction between psychology and sport performance. And we're talking about the psychological aspects of an optimal athletic performance. We're talking about the psychological care and well being of athletes and their teams. We are talking about the physical connection between, or the connection between the physical and the psychological for people who need to perform at their peak when it really, really matters. And so this is whether it is on stage, whether it is on a field, whether it is in the boardroom, our SPP program is going to be giving you the skills to affect this change. Let's talk a little bit about the SPP community and what it would look like to be a part of our community. So, the SPP community is coming from many different backgrounds. As you saw, some of them will have a master's already if they're part of that shorter doctorate program. Folks from our longer doctorate program might have a bachelor's from a variety of backgrounds. So, up there you'll see psychologists, counselors, athletes, coaches, but also second career students, people who have come back and realized this is where my passion lies. This is what I'm really excited about. And it's time for me to take action on it and hey, help other people take action too. So our instructors end up being just as varied, some incredible people in this program. They're going to have backgrounds in sports nutrition. They've got sports medicine. Obviously, clinical mental health counseling is going to be in there, huh? And then clinical and organized psychology. But we also have people coming from a social work background and people who've worked with a variety of teams and can bring that experience to the forefront when you're having some of these really wonderful discussions that are happening in class. And no matter what class you're taking, this engagement between students and faculty is really important for us. So you'll see this a little bit down the line when we talk about the flipped classroom format, but the discussion is where the magic happens. We want students to come prepared to these synchronous discussions, watch these asynchronous lectures, get this information asynchronously, and then they come to these discussions ready to dive in to the material and break it down a little bit more. All right, I will give you just a moment to compare these degrees. So, as you're going to see, there is a lot that they have that's going on. So, format both online, but the length is quite different. So, 2.5 years for that EdD in sport and performance psychology, no specialization in clinical mental health counseling, 86 quarter credits in that one, and we are on the quarter system. In case we hadn't let you know that yet, what that will mean is that we have 4 quarters in a year, and every 13 weeks we're cycling on to a new class. So it keeps it fresh, it keeps it interesting. It also provides a lot of flexibility. I saw somebody just asked, hey, what if I am working in an intense situation that is maybe not sport and performance based in the sense of being on a field or being on a stage, but what if I'm working for or working with military and first responders? These are appropriate degrees for people who are in those high stress situations, the ones where things really, really matter. For some folks, that might be in the field of athletics. For other folks, that might show up in other ways. One of the ways that I think that we can let you know a little bit more about your situation specifically, we're going to look at the curriculum here in a little bit. And then if that still doesn't quite scratch the itch, if you're thinking I still got some questions, we'll connect you with one of those program directors to talk a little bit more in detail about what it might look like for you. They are happy to have those discussions that are a little bit deeper, a little bit more personal. We're here to get you the intro information. We'll do the very best that we can, but we want you to make sure that you know that's right for your situation as well. So we'll wrap up on this page. As you can see, a few more things. Cost per credit is the same no matter what program that you're doing. The big difference here is how many credits are in them and, of course, the length of the program. Now I'll pause here a little bit longer as well. There's a lot to take in here, but we'll break it down point by point. So we're still comparing these two degrees. And over here in the EdD Sport and Performance Psychology, no clinical mental health counseling, just that regular one, that shorter one here on the left, this does require a master's degree, as we mentioned, and it does need to be from a regionally accredited institution, 3.0 or higher. And within this, we do have two concentrations. So one of the first things to do when you're exploring the curriculum is figuring out, hey, what path is right for me? This is a good way to tell. We have two of them here. You can see sport and performance psychology studies and positive leadership and administration. You can find a detailed explanation of those two on our website that is done by our program directors. But this is also a really good point to talk with your admission advisor about which one of those might be best for you. So we've got a little overview on our website as well. But if you might like to see the program planners for these, we'll talk about how to get to those a little bit later. That can also be a really powerful way to tell which one of them is really calling your name. So 2.5 years, like we mentioned, but a maximum of 5 years to complete it. So it's okay if you're not wrapping everything up perfectly in 2.5 years. That's really common to need to extend it a little bit. Lots of folks take up to that 5 years. This one does require a graduate level course in research methods. So that's something that's often covered in somebody's master's degree, but if it's not, it is something that we'll be looking for. And then it is designed for those who might want to work in research as an independent consultant or faculty jobs, of course. And then hopping over to our other side, we've got a few differences when we're comparing that degree to our one that focuses on clinical mental health counseling as well as sport and performance psychology. So our one that includes CMHC is open to any bachelor's degree. You also earn a master's in passing. So that's where the clinical mental health counseling comes in, is that you're earning a master's in that CMHC. 4 to 5 years for completion on that one, though 10 years max. Another situation where flexibility is absolutely fine. This is designed to be for people who are working, people who are busy, people who may not be taking the exact same amount of courses each term or need to fluctuate and have some flexibility. And for this one, you can specialize a little bit further if you'd like to dive into sports and performance consulting. So that's where you can get the specialization there. And like I promised you, let's head on to those courses. I promise I'll pause here for a little bit so you can really see what's in there. But on the side, I also put a few instructions. And folks, somebody asked about scholarships. We'll touch on this very briefly later, but I really want to mention those scholarships. They are for folks who have submitted applications and been accepted to a program, and the due date for them is July 1st for this fall, July 1st. So we do have them. They're on our website. You could find them through the financial aid page. We could send the link directly to you. But those scholarships, which there's multiple of the scholarship that we are premiering this year, those ones have a due date of July 1st, and you need to be accepted to the program. So we do absolutely still have time to act. We can get your application submitted and really make sure we're getting as much stuff as we can, but want to give you that date. All right, you might notice on this page that the electives are missing. I know that's often the most exciting thing, and I did that just to motivate you to go to our website and see what they are. Now, part of this is a little bit selfish because we have 5 program planners for this area of sport and performance psychology with the different specializations, with the CMHC and no CMHC. It looks a little bit different for everybody. And so I wanted you to go and see those program planners after you're done here at a later date. And I'm going to tell you how to see them. First, I'm going to tell you the longer way, and then I'm going to tell you the easier way, the way that I use. So on the side there, you can see you could head to uws.edu. We have an admissions tab at the top, and then go down to academic support. Under that tab, you'll see classes and registration on the next page, and then you'll see a button that says register for courses, and the program planners are listed there. But if I could give you the shortcut, go to Google and type in University of Western States Program Planners. That's how I do it when I look it up. It's quicker. So if you want the real shortcut, University of Western States Program Planner into your search engine of choice, and that should do you right. All right, let's take another peek at those clinical mental health counseling courses. So I mentioned that, you might get a master's in passing if you want, if you're looking to this SPP program. And if you do pursue that, here are some of the courses that you'll be taking. So brief look at them, but again, you can see there that you can go to the program planners online. We're happy to be of help and answering any questions that you might have, but that's really the best place to look at all of them at the same time and really poke around and see which one is calling your name. I'll pause here for just a little bit longer so you guys can see. All right, we'll head along. So the program structure here, as I mentioned, the class number can vary, but that's okay. You can take 1, 2, or 3 classes a quarter. If you want to take just one, like I mentioned, fine, no problem. You've got a long time to finish the program. If you want to do it a little bit quicker, you could definitely do that. 86 quarter credits versus our 148. This is a repeat of some of the things that you saw a little bit ago. The thing I really want to point out, though, is at the bottom of this page. So the time commitment, you might be wondering, hey, Georgia, you said it was for working professionals, but I work a lot. I'm a busy gal or a busy guy or a busy person. I'd like to make sure that this is going to work for me. So we like to use a little rule of thumb. The equation that we use is 2 to 3 hours per credit per week. I like to go ahead and round up to 3. I think better safe than sorry. I would rather have too much time, which what is that? Too much time than not enough time. So I like to use 3 in my calculations. If you are taking a 4 credit class, sometimes that's 1 class, sometimes that's 2 classes. But if you're taking 4 credits, multiply that by 3 hours per credit per week, and you should get about 12 hours a week of work. If you take more classes than that, obviously that'll go up a little bit, but this might be a good starting point to figure out what enrollment could look like for you, especially nice when paired with those program planners. So your learning experience at UWS has a lot of different ways to keep you connected to your learning and keep you engaged. So students are completing weekly or bi-weekly readings. They're supplementing these readings with lectures, like I mentioned, that are available on our online platform. They're watching those lectures at home on their own time. And then the times that are synchronous, the times that you are checking in with our directors or our class instructors, our professors, that's when we're really having those good and enriching discussions. So this is also often called a flipped classroom. You might see that up there, where you are learning or reading at home and then clarifying that learning when you all get together. You do have papers and projects. A dissertation is required, so we are making sure that those critical thinking skills and those writing skills are being put to good use. And then this program also uses standardized patients. Standardized patients are a really neat program that I typically only see in other fields. You might have heard of them in something like our chiropractic program, or folks might have them in other medicinal fields where they are people who are trained actors. They're great at improv. They're coming in and they're pretending that they are experiencing some symptoms, and you are working to make them feel better. But really, you're honing your skills in an environment that is safe. It's kind of like a little sandbox where you're not going to hurt anybody or anything or harm a situation, but we do want you to be able to practice those skills. As I mentioned, that's often used for things like, medical programs, but we have it here. So we have people who are just incredible who will be able to get you used to what that environment looks like before it's really crunch time. And then afterwards, you, of course, get feedback from the instructors, from the people who facilitated this interaction, and that provides a lot of growth. Career pathways. So we mentioned some of these earlier that we are looking at the Association for Applied Sports Psychology. If you want to see some professional organizations, we require that you join a few. You will be very familiar with them. We've also got a robust network of professionals. I mentioned some of those people who were helping us teach this program a little bit ago, but the graduates of this program are just as varied. They're working with different sports teams, different professionals, different high stakes situations in which they need to coach people to their best performance. And they are happy to tell you a little bit more about what that looks like if that pathway is calling your name as well. One of the ways that we do this is we have somewhere called Switchboard, that is a big alumni and current student network. We also have an alumni services network. I know I mentioned the YouTube before. I love YouTube, but if you have time and you feel like heading back and watching another lecture, our alumni services department has been working hard for us. They have some interviews with alumni that are really incredible. If you have time to watch them, I do suggest it. And then you do have supervised mentorship experiences. You might have seen that in the curriculum where you get that practice out in the community as well. All right, when should I apply? How should you apply? Well, the first thing to do is you'll want to schedule an advising appointment. So our advisors are helpful in determining your eligibility for the program. If you're perhaps still finishing up that master's degree that we mentioned, that's one of our prerequisites for one of these programs. So we could always help guide you to when the best time is to apply or tell you what that admission decision might look like. So we sometimes give preliminary reviews or conditional acceptances if somebody's missing one or two things, but they're very, very close to a complete application. We require that applications are completed within a month of opening. We can be a little bit flexible on this if we need to, but what this does is it guarantees that your application, one, has or that you have a spot in our class. We want to make sure we get you processed so that we know how many people are joining us. We know how many spots are left. We would hate to guess and then not have enough space. The other thing that this does is it makes sure that the interviews are moving along at a healthy pace, that you're getting your admissions decision in a timely manner. And then we don't have a big crunch right at the end of the year where everybody has decided to apply at once. So when you open your application, we'll continue to help coach you through it. We'll remind you that it's open. And if we need to, we'll extend the time that it's open. But we do ask that you take about a month to get everything together. You'll also want to make sure that you're completely addressing that essay. You'll see that essay in the application, and that will be sent along to our program directors during the review. So make sure that you're getting that in. I do have some suggestions if you're logging in for the first time. So the first thing is to log in and become familiar with the application portal. When you're in there, you'll see a way to navigate that is on the left-hand side in the application. That's a good way to hop around. You'll see either my face or the face of somebody else. You'll see a few links to our website. I always think it's really helpful to be familiar with what the application looks like, just in case anything changes and you have to call one of us up and say, hey, can you help me? There's something wrong, or I'm not sure what's happening. You'll see that we monitor where your application is. We've got profile created all the way through admitted, so you'll be able to see how everything is doing as well. You might see up here some of the other things that we'll need: 2 letters of recommendation, current resume, our curriculum vitae, that interview, and then finally a $300 deposit and background check. All right, tuition and financial aid, obviously very important for these programs if you decide to use this. Tuition is due on the first day of the quarter, and we do qualify for federal financial aid for folks who are U.S. citizens or permanent residents. More details there and are on our financial aid website. So head there. They've got a great FAQ that addresses pretty much everything you think of, but if it doesn't, we'll help you. Our financial aid office will also help you. Something that might be helpful to know ahead of time, and that is at the bottom there, so I want to make sure you see it, is that financial aid packages are assembled and distributed after acceptance into a program, typically within the month after acceptance into a program. So until we have you accepted into the program and we can match your acceptance to a financial aid package from FAFSA, we're not able to give you an idea of exactly what it looks like, even if we can give some rough estimates. So another benefit to completing your application a little bit earlier, making sure that's a timely application, is that you get to know all the details much, much sooner. Some final tips to keep in mind. So we have a quick and easy way to book online. Our advisors will likely in their signature have a way for you to book time on their calendar if you might like to. Some of those meetings are very small, some of them are a little bit longer, but they'll get you oriented with everything that you need to know. Well, beyond this webinar, right? So our busiest time is often in the 2 months before an application deadline. We're in it right now where things start really picking up. That's another benefit to applying a little bit earlier. The applications are open year round. So if you'd like to have everything settled a little sooner, you definitely could. And you could qualify for that preliminary review or conditional acceptance. And check out those due dates below in case you're looking at that fall or spring term. We're coming up on a few of them, very exciting. But for fall, our classes will begin on October 9th. All right. I know I've said it a million times, but connect with our advisors if you have any questions. We are happy to be of help. And then connect with admissions virtually. That's the page that I was speaking about earlier in case any of those other programs are of interest to you and you want to check them out or see some of our podcasts or just any of the stuff that we've been doing. Here's the last little recommendation. Of course, plan in advance for your application. We would love to be of help earlier rather than later, but we are happy to help at any time. So if you have questions, there is our main email address. This is a fantastic one. If you only have one email address, this is the best one to have. Or if you only have one number, that one at the top is the best one as well, that 800 toll-free number. There are the FAQs that can be helpful in the different areas that people might be looking at. Make sure to check those out. Reach out to your assigned advisor. I know I said it a million times, or financial aid. But that is going to be all for us today. I'm checking to see if we have just any final questions so I can make sure. Yeah, so the slides in the presentation, somebody asked if these are available for you. You will receive after this recording. I have to go and edit it a little bit, but probably early next week, you'll receive a copy of this recording. You will be able to see the slides in here as well. But if any questions come up, you let us know. We are happy to help. All right. And then, as I mentioned, if anybody didn't have their question answered, we will be following up with you tomorrow. Don't want to go over our time by too much, and we're 2 minutes past. So I will go ahead and let you go. But thank you so much for everybody who has joined us today. We can't thank you enough, and we hope to see your application soon. All right. Have a good day.